welcome back. Today we've got bones in the shop. I know it's not quite winter time, but we're going to go ahead and replace the lower radiator tank down on the bottom there. We got done with it down in Oklahoma the other day, and our patch didn't do too well. It did good enough to get us through the day, but as you can see, it's still leaking. So before we go ahead and put him up for the winter, I just want to go ahead and get the tank swapped out. I've got the tank to do it, got all the tools to do it, and we're just going to get it done. So we're up here in Brian's shop today because Brian has room in his shop that we can work on stuff like this, whereas I don't. So that's what we're getting into. Okay, so first things first, we got to get all the remaining water out of here. And to do that, we could do one of two things. We could either wait for it all to drain out the crack in the radiator, or you pull the plug down here on the bottom. There's the plug down here. This one's real nice because it's just, you know, an actual plug. A lot of old tractors, you'll find somebody's put a piece of pipe and a cap on it, or, you know, they'll have some weird valve or something on there, but this is what we got. But I always generally, you know, stick my finger up in there and make sure you get rust clods out. You know, she's 90 years old, so she's gonna have a little bit of rust in there. That's normal. Just try and wash as much out as you can. And also, I drain these tractors out every winter. They don't ever sit with water in them over the winter. And actually most of the summer, unless we're going to a show somewhere, they're pretty much empty. So. Okay, so now we have all the water drained out of it. We've got to pull the hood and the gas tank off. The air cleaner's got to come off. The exhaust pipe's got to come off. I mean, technically you don't have to, but my arms aren't that long to be able to, you know, get it off there. So we're going to take these off real quick. We'll have to pull the steering shaft back. It's not too complicated. It actually goes pretty quick. So if you put the wrench on the right way. There's supposed to be 4 bolts. We've got the optional delete kit where there's only 3 on here. But that's okay. Now it should just pop right off. So we're going to set this over here to the side. That way we don't lose it. And put our bolts back in. So once again, we don't lose them. I'm horrible about losing nuts and bolts. Of course, this side's going to be nice and hot because we drove the tractor in here. But somebody's got a nice little weld on the straight pipe there. Can't get the bolt off. And if you guys didn't know, straight pipes add horsepower. You know, we picked up another 40 horse by just straight piping it along.
I doubt your data on that one.
Oh yeah? You gonna prove me wrong? You know, maybe we ought to do that.
Mark's pony brake.
Mark's got a pony brake. Maybe we ought to see. Straight pipe versus non-straight pipe. We would have to do it with the same tractor though, that way, you know, your data's consistent.
Take a muffler off of mine.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm sure Mark could do it.
He probably could. That's a short. I'm up to 9. We're having a mosquito killing contest, if you guys didn't know. So far I'm at 9. Brian has yet to successfully kill one yet. What? Oh, it's Sarah. Gus! So everybody, this is Gus. He's the official mascot. If you don't like Gus, then, you know, this channel's not for you. Okay, so now that we have our air stack and our exhaust pipe pulled off here, we got to get the steering shaft to move backwards so we can get the hood and the gas tank off. So how you do that is you take these 4 bolts out, and then there's a worm gear in here, a bunch of gears up top here. But you'll take these loose, you'll move this back, and then you just spin the steering wheel, and the whole thing will push itself out. So
Here, let me help you out here.
I see that.
And the only reason I'm doing it is because I like your bolt holder that you have up here.
Hey, you know what? That's custom. Okay.
That's a custom bolt holder
Custom,
right there.
So. Okay, so now we got all the bolts out, and normally you can just slide this back and this will slide off, but this steering shaft's been broken welded together at some point in its life. I don't know if you guys can see the big old booger weld on here, but that's okay. We don't need to pull this all the way off the shaft. So to get this out, it's got a worm gear on the back end of it here and a bunch of gears in this top pedestal. So you just spin the steering shaft out and it comes out. So then you just kind of precariously push it back far enough. And that'll be fine until one of us walks around the back end of the tractor and smacks into it. But you know, it works for now. So now that we have the steering shaft out, it's time to go ahead and pull the hood and the gas tank off. And you can do this in multiple ways. Easiest way I like to do it is you pull 4 bolts out. You got one on each side in the front. There's one up under here and there's one on the other side. And then you take these 2 out right here, those 2. And then you'll just have to unhook your gas line from your carburetor and the rest of it should stay. So it's a 9/16 deep well socket to get these 2 front bolts off, nuts off. At least that's what it's supposed to be. Somebody, you know, I come across them all the time where somebody's put square nuts on and they're bigger or smaller. Sometimes they don't even have the nuts on them, so, you know, you just kind of gotta go with what you got. But we'll get this hood pulled off here, hood and gas tank, and we'll get back to you when we're ready to pull it. So.
You know, I've heard of seeing your face in a plow after you've plowed all day, but I don't know that I've ever been able to see my face in a wheel load before. Did you try to plow half the county?
I mean, we got a little done with it. We had a good time. And so what, okay? It was a plow day, all right? We were there to plow, Brian. So on these back 2, mine are square. It helps to have a friend who can reach in there, but if you know how to hold the wrench right, you can do it on your own. Getting it off there.
You there?
Alright, so hold on. Hold please.
I'll get that wrench out of the way for you. I don't know if you guys can see in there or not. It's kind of dark in there.
A little bit. It's not going to be for long. Okay, so there's one.
Okay, I got a wrench on this other one.
Now remember what I said about the nuts and bolts. Don't pay attention to this. Nobody, don't look at that. It's okay. It's supposed to be that way. Oh, she's a little tight. that, we are good. Okay. Maybe. Okay, so we got all our bolts out, the 4 of them, as you guys saw. We're getting ready to take this hood and gas tank off here in one piece. Now, we have an overhead crane. If you don't have one, it's really not that big a deal. These hoods and gas tanks, they're not heavy at all. We're just being lazy. I'm just gonna call it how it is. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And if you have an overhead crane, you might as well use the overhead crane, right? I mean, you know. So we'll get this pulled off, and then we'll show you guys what we got to do to finish getting the radiator off the front end here and get that tank swapped out. So let's keep watching. Okay, so now that we've got the hood pulled, this is going to sit here. It's not going to go anywhere. We got to finish taking the air cleaner apart, which we really don't have to take it all apart. We just got to take really this elbow off, this piece of pipe, and then we've got to take our upper and lower radiator hoses off, and we'll have to take the fan shroud loose to get it off. And then there's some bolts up underneath the bottom. There's 1 bolt per side. You got to take those out, and the radiator should just pull right off the top once you get all that unhooked. What do you think the chances we get these radiator hoses off without having to cut them are?
Well, I was just sitting there looking at that thinking, I wonder how much rust and corrosion is going to be into that hose that won't allow it to reseal.
We don't talk about that. We don't need that kind of negativity in our life.
Probably one of the most irritating tasks on these tractors is getting old hoses loose.
Yeah, so if you have a good idea or a good way to get this off there, I would greatly appreciate knowing how, because I really dislike fighting them like this. Alright, so anyways, I'm trying to get these hoses off here, and they're not coming off. Brian says he has a way to get them off. I'm not too sure what he has in mind, but I'm a little bit scared. Looks like he's just going to start cutting. So, yep.
I had a good battery.
Looks like somebody was ill prepared with a dead battery. That gets it off there pretty quick.
In the water.
Nice. How nasty is it?
I've seen worse.
That don't look too good.
Longer hose, it'll cover it.
She ain't too bad, but she ain't too good either. I don't know if you guys can tell. Let's shed a little light on the situation here. So anyways, there you go. You can see down in there. A little bit of rust flake. It happens, you know. This thing's 90 years old. 88. What's a year or two? You know, it's fine. But she's had a long life, and she's still going. So you'll probably have a little bit of rust built up inside you by the time you hit that age too. So, anyways, we'll get back to it. So I don't know why we're taking the clamps off the bottom one if we're just going to wind up cutting them with the Sawzall anyways. But you know, it's the thought that counts, right?
That bottom hose looks in a little better shape. Maybe we'll save it.
That's funny because I thought the top one looked better. I'm willing to bet you they're the same age. You know, I really thought 10. Really thought the mosquitoes would have been dead by now. Ouch. But they are not. Yeah, I don't see that coming off very easily.
Well, we haven't had a killing freeze in Missouri yet, so.
Now these hose clamps are nice. So anyways, we're just taking the breather off here. Breather tube. You know, naturally it's all gummed up in there, but it's alright, we'll make it. And if we break it, well, we broke it. It'll be alright, we'll get another one.
I've made those out of 3/8 copper before.
Yeah.
And bent them to shape and then painted them.
And nobody knows the difference. Just set that down like that. This is still the original hose clamp.
Yeah.
See that? So I'm going to go with this one here and try and take off because, you know, no matter a bad accusation. Might have been.
Imagine you're going to have to take them both loose.
Probably. Stop it with that negativity.
Oh, wow.
That's gonna
Wow.
go off there.
That's going to come off easily.
Okay. Now we just gotta take the two out the bottom. So now that we have the breather unhooked, we know it's gonna be loose. We gotta take the fan shroud off because you can't pick the radiator up and get it around the fan. I mean, you probably could, but you know, we're just gonna take the fan shroud off. So we've got our crescent wrench here. It's right there. You know, we don't want to use the right tool. We just want to use whatever's closest to us. That's how we roll around here. So it looks like there's one here. I'm gonna say there's 6 bolts to hold this on, and just a little love tap there will be all right. So we're gonna put all these nuts over here. That way we lose them later. And then we got these little tabs here. Now see the beauty in a crescent wrench. Boom, tab bent. Oh, you need to adjust it a little bit to bend that one. Boom, perfect. Oh, look, gotta go back to this bolt. Okay. That one's spinning on the inside there. Yep, she's spinning. So is that one. So it's 5/8 on the outside. Quite sure it's 5/8 on the inside. This is where, you know, having that buddy comes in handy. You gotta hold your mouth just right. Get your arm angled up in there. Oh. Okay, so it's all right on the bottom one.
Still turning.
Yeah, I don't think it's 5/8.
Look at that. Helps when you have the right size wrench inside.
It does, just a little bit. This isn't one of those, if you can feel it, chase it moments. Finally, after all that work, now we get to go to the other side and start over. 9/16, Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, thank you very much.
Instead of using a crescent wrench, you're going to use the actual size wrench. Just checking.
Everyone's a critic. It works out easier this way. But see, you handed me the correct size wrench, so the wrench was closer. I didn't have to reach for it. Helps if you hold on the right nut. All right. So, we now have the fan shroud loose. We got all the bolts out of it. Now the only thing left is we just got these 2 bolts down here holding it on. We're going to take them out and hopefully just pick this thing straight up and set it right over there on that sawhorses so we can start taking this lower tank off. It's all in good fun. Somebody cut the upper radiator hose, so you know we just got back. Surprisingly, you know, you would think O'Reilly's would have it. Matter of fact, I know O'Reilly's has it because I bought it there before. But the O'Reilly's here did not have it, and they proceeded to tell us that they did not carry it. I'm here to tell you they do. Okay. We got those bolts out. Let's see if she's gonna come loose. Okay, so me and my lovely helper here.
Easy.
All right, Vanna. Anyways, we're gonna pick this radiator up off here and set it over there on those sawhorses. So, ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Your direction.
Oh, we're not gonna fall. Here.
Got it?
Yeah.
You don't know until you're going to pick it up.
Yeah.
There you go. So let's drop it on the floor.
So, as you guys can tell from our previous video, our patch was up here and down here, but we couldn't get right along in here, and it's leaked all through there. So,
Had this tractor been rolled?
I believe so. Previously, I don't know when or who rolled it or what, but all roads point to home. Yep, see, there's a big old crack right there. It's been, all of that's been, that was previous to me, all of that. So,
New tank.
new tank. Huh, that's gonna suck to get those bolts out. So Brian just can't help the fact that the fan's green on Bones. So he's going through and sanding up the back of it so he can paint it. Because for some reason he likes yellow fans.
They're
And
supposed to be yellow in this era of A.
And why is that?
They did it as a safety measure. They were supposed to make a bright yellow fan so someone didn't stick their hand in it. I'm not even joking.
And that, folks, was today's Fun Facts with Field. It's real technical here.
If you're trying to learn to paint something, I am not the guy to learn from.
Blow, tack, and stack, baby. Blow, tack, and stack. Okay, now while Brian's doing that, I'm gonna get over here and start taking all the bolts out of this lower radiator tank. You got all these all the way around you gotta take out, and then it comes apart right here. And then we got some new gasket material to make a new gasket and get that new tank put on there. Also, this is a period correct radiator because we've still got the tag.
I think these bolts have been in here a day or two.
Maybe just 1 or 3. Okay, so here's our new lower radiator tank. As you guys can tell, no crack, no crack, still no cracks. Looky there, no cracks on the front either. So I gotta get this thing cleaned up. Brian's still pulling bolts out of the old radiator. So we'll get this thing cleaned up here. Okay, so we're back to needing a grinder, clean this gasket surface up, and a wire wheel. So once again, if you're OSHA, you might want to turn away for this scene here. You're probably not going to like it too much, but you know, safety first. We got our glasses we're going to put on here. You know, we are safe, just saying. So we got it all cleaned up here where the gasket surface is. Yeah, I know it's pitted and it ain't exactly true, but you know, that's what the Permatex is for. So we'll kind of finish up getting this tank off here and do a little bit more prep work, and we'll get back to you when we're making a gasket and getting the new one installed. So I'm just knocking all of the loose rust off in here, because you know, we can go ahead and knock it off now and it doesn't wind up in the tractor later. It ain't gonna be perfect, and I realize that, but you know, the more the merrier, right? The more you can get out now, you know, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. We're doing a little bit of prevention here. Okay, so now we need a new gasket for this lower tank here. We don't have one, didn't pick one up, so we're gonna make one. So what you do is you get you some gasket material. We've already rolled this one out, pre-cut it. But there's a couple different ways you can do this. You could flip this over and trace around it with a pen if you'd like. Or you can take the hammer, as you've seen us in previous videos, and just kind of tap around the edges of it. The trick is to not move it. And you don't want to beat on it real hard and risk breaking your cast. Just real light taps across here. So now, I don't know how well you guys can see that on camera, but also if you flip it over here, you know, there's enough dirt on there that it transferred across. So now you just take your scissors, and we go back to kindergarten here, and we cut out on the lines. So now that we have our gasket all lined out and everything, I find it easier. You can take a punch to come through, and once you get your gasket lined up, you can line up all your holes. But we don't have a punch right now, so we're improvising. Alright, so now we just got two that we can't get to. But I already marked them, so we're going to cheat. Success. Losing hand strength here. So, we got our surfaces all cleaned up here. We had a camera malfunction, but I put RTV on the bottom, put our gasket on. Now I'm putting a little bit of RTV on the top. A lot of you are looking saying, well, why are you putting RTV on there? Well, it's just a little insurance, okay? Okay, So we're getting ready to stick this back together. We got 2 bolts, one in either corner, just to get it hung on there. I'm gonna try and get it on the first shot here. We don't want to have a major malfunction. That one ain't long enough to get down through the radiator.
There you go. There's a longer one.
There's a longer one.
I'll try to put this on one-handed.
Now I can't get it back out. There we go.
This one is started, Josh.
Okay. So we're still at it here. Just tighten them up one by one. I always like to start in the middle and work my way out. That way you push everything to the outside edge. Uh-oh. Oh, hey, nice of you to stop in there. We're still just tightening bolts here, you know. There's like, I don't know, 30 of them to do. Square. So, you know, just one at a time. You don't want to over tighten them. Take the hardware off. Luckily, you know, out of this whole project here, we've only broke 2 bolts off, and that was, both of these were in the lower radiator tank. So that's pretty impressive, actually, because typically my luck would break off at least 2 bolts in the first 10 minutes. What we got.
Beggars can't be choosers.
That's true. The camera guy is also the one who broke the bolt off, so, you know.
We don't want to talk about that.
It's like Fight Club. We don't talk about Fight Club. Rule 1. Okay. She is officially put on there. So we got our lower radiator tank put on. We need to let the Permatex and everything set up overnight. That way it's just less messy. I do want to clean this up a little bit and shoot some paint on it so it doesn't, you know, stick out like a sore thumb. But we've got a couple other things we're going to be doing more videos on bones here. Number 1, fan clutch is out. We discovered that today, so we got to put that in. Number 2, the front pedestal here isn't exactly flush like it's supposed to be. Once again, we discovered that today. And then we need to put a flywheel seal in the flywheel, because if you come around here to this side, you can see where it's been slinging oil. And I kind of knew this was going bad anyways, but we just ran it. You see all the oil on the flywheel and up the side of the hood, it's all spaffledy. There's actually a cork seal back behind there. You got to pull the flywheel off and you put a new cork seal in. So we'll do all that. Since we already got him in the shop, might as well go ahead and just get him back up to 100%. You know, I bought this tractor a few years ago and I've used the crap out of it, and it's always just ran. I've never really taken much time to do much to it because, quite honestly, it's not really ever given me any problems. You know, the radiator tank, that was a problem from day one, and we just patched it and got it going. You know, no more than I use it. I don't farm with it every day. You know, we go to shows and have fun with it. And as you guys saw, we went to plow day with it at our local show. I do tractor pulls with it. I plow with it there. Just have a good time on it. So it needs to be right. And it's time that we go through and we get all these little, I call them honeydews, but you know, just little to-dos off the list. But yeah, anyways, thanks for watching today's video, guys. Like I said, we'll come back and we'll finish up putting the radiator in, reassembly on that, and we'll get started on one of the other projects that we got to do on this thing. So special thanks to Brian for letting us use the shop. You know, the weather's starting to get colder. It's the fall here, and Brian was kind enough to clear out a space for us to be able to work on this thing inside. So I know it kind of looks like we're right in the middle of the shop, and well, that's because we are right in the middle of the shop. But anyways, thanks for watching and have a good night.